6:42 a.m. Wednesday, May the 2nd, 4 degrees in Winnipeg this morning, school day number 5, and still ahead in this half hour for many students. Spring is the time to look for work opportunities. The same applies to people, of course, with developmental disabilities, but we'll find out just how valuable volunteer placements are in that regard. One Winnipeg man's story about challenge and where he did find some success. Stay tuned. That's this half hour on the show. Right now, the morning time is 10 to 7 a.m. I'm Marcy Markusa. Thanks for being with us on CBC, Winnipeg's number one station, 89.3 FM. Well, next on the show, it's a sign of spring when students start looking for work. It's not easy to find a summer job, and it can be even more difficult to find work if you're someone who lives with developmental disabilities of any kind. Now, Winnipegger Paul Maric is a sports fanatic. He's an aspiring broadcaster as well. He also lives with visual impairment and cerebral palsy. He says he's always looking for opportunities to work in the community, like the placement he just finished at a local radio station.
Welcome to the show, Chloe.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
I'd first like to know what inspired you to become a clerk in the showroom?
Well, it actually kind of just fell on my lap.
That's a clip of Paul on the show, and Paul was not paid for his time. His items, though, didn't go to air either, but he says it gave him an opportunity to do what he loves and to connect. Paul's here today to talk a little bit about the challenges sometimes of finding those opportunities. Hi, Paul.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
And I understand you're comfortable. We just heard that in front of a mic, so nice to have a radio guy in.
This is great. I've been looking forward to it.
Stacey Armstrong's with us too in studio. Stacey's coordinator of day services for Community Ventures. It finds work placements for people who are living with developmental disabilities. Hi there.
Thank you.
So, Paul, you sounded great on the radio. What'd you love about your placement?
Actually, it's great. I've been listening to the radio all my life, and one day I just thought, hey, why not give it a shot for real? And I've been loving it ever since. It's just great being able to interview people and actually, as you just heard, finding out what it's like for them either in their job or why they decided to pick the job that they decided to do for.
What challenges do you face finding volunteer placements that you enjoy?
Well, it's actually not really challenges because we are actually given choices at the beginning of the year as far as what we want for that particular year, and we get to choose. And so I just choose what I want, and then I just wait and keep my fingers crossed. And I would say 9 out of 10 times I get what I pick.
And you're given choices by whom? By the organization?
Yes, by the organization. Yeah. The staff at each program pick ideas of what they think us participants want, and then we're given suggestions, and we submit it, and then call it about a week later, we're given our schedule for that year.
So, Stacey, when you look at the goals of what you do, the volunteer placements you have, we're learning a little bit about how this works already, but what are your overall goals?
Well, our overall goals is, we're an arm of the Salvation Army, so we work to promote dignity and respect for everyone and give everyone the opportunities that they would like to have. So we just want to develop the skills and confidence in people, so if they choose to pursue paid employment, that they have a leg up on that. And just to give back to the community that we're a part of. And, of course, our main goal is to always to promote awareness that people with disabilities can do just anything they set their mind to.
Now, Paul's in a very rewarding placement right now, and as he suggested, he's had some things to choose from. But at the level when you're looking for opportunities for people, what are the challenges there in finding places that will be meaningful for people to work at?
Well, a lot of times you see that when you see a person with a disability, that's what you notice first, and you don't notice the ability and the skills and the gifts and talents behind someone. So just breaking down those barriers is always the biggest issue we face. But mostly it's just to make sure that we're an advocate for the individuals we support so that they can become advocates for themselves. A lot of times businesses are worried about the accommodations that they'll have to make for us, but we do most of that legwork behind the scenes, and Paul can probably attest to the fact that he makes accommodations every day for himself and has learned to adapt and grow due to the nature of his disability.
Paul, do you want to talk a little bit more about that, maybe sort of the how you've been able to keep moving forward and learning and growing?
Yeah, besides the radio station, all my other work placements, we are given our tasks, and if we're able to do it, no problem. We just go to it. But if we're not, we kindly tell whoever our supervisor is, I'm sorry, that's one job. I cannot do? Is there something I can do instead? And myself, just for example, I also volunteer at 2 separate thrift stores in the city. And just yesterday, they were working on dehanging clothes, taking clothes off racks. And our supervisor said, you know what, this might be a little bit difficult for you. So if you'd like, I have another job that is open for you, and it was cleaning glasses. And I gave it a shot, and I was able to do a great job, so I had no complaints.
Is it more often, how usual is it that the employer would, who starts that conversation? Do you say, I'm able or not able to do X, Y, and Z, or are employers proactive enough, to be able to say to you and have that open conversation about, where the ability is and what might fit for you the best?
Yeah, as far as the thrift store goes, we just go up to our supervisor and say, okay, what are we doing for that day? And then I would say call it 9 out of 10 times for myself. I have no complaints. I can do it. But if there's something I can't do, I just say to the supervisor, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And most often, yeah, they have something.
That dialogue's critical, though. I was going to build on that a little bit, Stacey, because you mentioned that employers can be reticent because they're sort of worried about what people can and can't do. What would you say to employers about sort of just being open with that communication with any employee, probably, but especially with people that might come in with some challenges?
It's all about the relationship building, and the longer we work there, the more they understand how we operate. We always have support staff there with our members to assist them during the day. So our partners that we work with have been fantastic and are willing to be flexible with us. And we find placements that are beneficial to everyone. We find, Paul's gifts and skills, and we find him a placement where he can shine at. And so that we figure is very important.
Are you guys always looking for more employers to get involved and to sign up with you, Stacey? If someone's listening and interested from the employment side, how should they do that?
Always. We have, I believe, 125 or close to 200, members that we support. So we're always looking for placements, and you can always reach us at communityventure.mb.ca to find out more information.
Thanks so much for coming in this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
And nice to meet you, Paul. Thanks for being here.
Nice to meet you.
That's Paul Maric, who lives here in Winnipeg, and Stacey Armstrong, who coordinates day services for Community Venture. They find volunteer work placements for people who are living with developmental disabilities in our community. It is now 3 minutes to 7 o'clock on 89.3. Heather Wells returns now with news headlines. Hi, Heather.